We looked at the 7 elements of a success-oriented personality in episode 136. Well, all of them are important. All 7 are important. One of them, however, covers a much broader area than the others. Courage. Episode 136, we covered the 7 elements of a success-oriented personality. Sense of direction, understanding, and yes, I am reading. Sense of direction, understanding, courage, charity, esteem, self-confidence, and self-acceptance. And remember, the first letter of each of those spells out the word success. Okay? I went through each one fairly quickly. I think I was pretty clear in saying that I was going to go through each one pretty quickly. I also mentioned that I would return for a look at courage. That's what this episode is for. And you might ask, well, why courage? Why does it get special attention out of the 7? Good question. I would ask the same question. Obviously, all 7 are needed to move towards success. And I guess you could say to some extent they're needed to different levels or to different amounts. That's hard to say, because a sense of direction, you need to have a pretty good, clear sense of direction. Self-confidence, you need to build that. Now, there's no need to build it all the way into arrogance, but you need to always be working and make sure that you have good, consistent self-confidence. But the most common reason for looking at courage and going deeper into courage is that the folks around you, close to you, will almost always attack you as you succeed. You need to be prepared for that, and you also need to be prepared to help them handle the changes. And I'm talking about your husband, your wife, your kids, your mom and dad, your brothers and sisters, those folks. If it's somebody at work, you know, that's a much more nuanced thing. How much do you have to do to help someone who isn't even part of your family deal with the fact that you are making changes? I think, clearly, the closer the person is as a friend, the more you would do to help them. But obviously, the people who are your family, those are the people for whom you are going to do the most. Let me take a second to, be clear about this, and the way that I'm going to do it is by relating it back to the 5 needs. Belonging, purpose, survival, fun, freedom. Okay? Well, as soon as you start orienting yourself towards success and making decisions to move yourself towards success. Ooh, I just saw on the monitor screen what that looked like. I apologize. I will try to not ever do that again with my hand to put it out in front like that. It looked like it got huge. But when you start focusing on success, when you start making changes to build your success, that automatically improves your ability to meet your need for purpose, your needs for survival, your needs for fun and for freedom. But it also automatically starts to interfere with your need for belonging. You might, obviously, develop new friends and acquaintances, and that feeds your need for belonging. But it interferes with your need for belonging because the people closest to you, and remember, we are all pattern recognition experts. We live our lives relying on patterns to get us through the day. So when you start changing your patterns, clearly the people who are living in the same house as you are going to have their patterns disrupted. And initially, that can result in some resistance to the changes that you are making. So you need to be prepared for yourself to make changes. You also need to be working at helping the people living in the same house as you deal with the changes that you are making. You need to communicate. You need to talk at them. Talk to them. Please never talk at your family. Always a bad choice. That said, the whole topic of helping your family cope with the changes, that would make this a multi-day kind of video. It might even raise the need for family mentoring. Completely different from what we're covering here. For this video, this is for you. You can apply it to other folks in your family, but the advice I'm giving is for you. Okay? So the first bit of courage is the courage to assess. Okay, Conrad, what am I assessing? The first thing is whether the people around you are likely to be helpful. You know, when I was married, I was really surprised, very much blown away, when one night driving along going home, my wife said, "I don't understand why anybody would ever want to be self-employed." Wow. And my answer back to her was, "Do you know who you married? You know, you married me knowing I'm self-employed." It was just mind-boggling. So you need to assess whether the people around you are going to have the capacity to be helpful to you when you are making these changes. If you have children, are your children 2, 3, 4 years of age? Or are they 15, 17, 20, 30 years of age? Because the younger they are, the easier it is for them to incorporate the changes you are making. The older they are, the harder it can be. You also need to assess, okay, I'm finding a sense of direction, I'm building my self-confidence, I'm moving forward. Okay, what are your skills and abilities? And I'll tell you what, assessing yourself honestly is, in my experience, far more difficult than I ever realized. Some people just are incapable of doing it. They will never ever be willing to face the truth about themselves. When I was willing, and I am now willing to face the truth about myself, initially it was actually pretty hard. Pretty hard, one, to acknowledge the truth, and pretty hard to give myself a break and say, okay, yes, these are things that I'm doing, but I also need to avoid beating myself up over doing these things. And the last thing about assessing is, what do you genuinely want? It's okay to have a goal so big that it scares you. And I've run into this with, personal development speakers, and they've said, okay, make a really, really big goal. And so I've made a really, really big goal. And I listen to other people saying stuff, and then it comes around to be my turn. And one that I said in a session was, I want a net worth of $27 million, and I want it in the next 3 years. Well, I blew the doors off the presenter. The presenter openly acknowledged that she had no clue how to help me do that. Yeah, not a good fit. But you do need to be honest. What do you genuinely want? Do you want to be a millionaire? A billionaire? Do you want to own 50 apartment buildings? Do you just want to be the best dad you can be? Do you want to, do the job that you're doing, framing houses, welding trailers, and help your kids get a greater education than you did? Okay. Just be honest about what it is that you want. The next one, as you might guess, is the courage to change. Now that you've assessed, okay, can the people around me be helpful? What are my skills and abilities? What do I genuinely want? And now I want to work toward building change. You kind of need to do things differently. let's remember the definition of insanity is doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, expecting to get different results. So we have to have the courage to change. And I've mentioned this several times, because you are making changes, you also have to have the courage to help the people around you deal with the changes. And this might sound like it fits in with the other two, but it's just that little bit different. The courage to act. Okay, I've assessed everything, I'm really clear about what I want to get done, I'm prepared to make changes, and I can absolutely see what I need to do differently. So, are you going to do it? Are you going to take action? And can you see that difference? It is so subtle. But my guess is that we have all met people who are forever preparing, forever getting ready, learning more, but they never actually do anything. This is why it takes courage to act, especially when you start looking at some of the difficulties that could present themselves. You have to go, you know what, and I'm going to do this anyway. And then there's the courage to stumble, because that's going to happen. You're going to take action, and something about it is going to not work. Something is going to glitch. Maybe you get in an argument with your wife or your husband, okay? Maybe it upsets your children in some way, and you fight with them. Maybe you try to do something and you do it wrong, and it costs you 3 times more because you have to fix what you did and then do more stuff. Well, you have to have courage to stumble. And for me, what I find makes it possible, makes it not easy, but more acceptable, is I know I'm 56 at the time of recording. So I have made a lot of mistakes in my life. And I have learned that mistakes are beautiful learning opportunities. I might be unhappy about having made the mistake. Believe me, I have made lots of mistakes where I've been unhappy about making the mistake. But I am always encouraged by the fact that every single mistake is a learning opportunity. And if you can hear that construction in the background, there's actually a house out back of where I live. It's a fraternity house, and they are doing some wonderful, really much needed renovations to it. So that's what the construction noise is. The next one, and this is the last one. Yay, we're almost at the end. The courage to ask for help. You've taken action, you've stumbled, and I was just watching a video from Michael Kleeman, Captain Kleeman, on YouTube. He is framing a rental cabin that is boat themed, and he's out there doing it himself. And it's wonderful to watch him, especially as a carpenter. It's wonderful to watch him and see the things that he is doing, the very thoughtful things that he is doing to make it easier on himself, because he recognizes he is alone out there. And I mean, he is alone. If he falls and gets hurt, if he does something and gets hurt, he's in real trouble. So it's great to watch him and see the thought that's going into doing things so that he doesn't get hurt, and so that it is easier for him to do these things. He does ask for help, when it's needed. And when I watch it, whenever I see anybody doing something, and especially somebody who talks about needing to stand on their own 2 feet, needing to be independent, my mind always goes to the example of John Wayne. And people, the legend of John Wayne is that he never had to ask for help. He was the Duke. Oh. Well, the truth is, he was an actor. Okay? The scripts were written so that he never needed to ask for help. And let's keep in mind, John Wayne, okay, his given name, his real name, is Marion. So even his name is something that he made. When you see John Wayne, he always has a full head of hair. Well, John Wayne was bald and always wore a hairpiece. So, hey, no mistake about it, I enjoy John Wayne's films. I think The Horse Soldiers, I think The Cowboys with all the kids, I think that one especially is an amazing film. And he's done lots of great films. Great actor. But he's an actor. The stuff he does in a movie isn't real. It's scripted. It's staged to go the way that it needs to go to tell the story of the film. And he never needed to ask for help. And the script always had people just volunteering. And there's Big Jake is one where people volunteer to help him take a box of money into Mexico. And John Wayne says, no, this is a job for one man. Okay? So the whole persona of the Duke was not asking for help, not needing help. Not real, folks. Not real. No man is an island. We all need help at some point in time. And I could tell you several stories about me failing to ask for help and the negative consequences because of it. Okay, that's it. That's courage. In a really big nutshell. If you have questions, if you have comments, please, by all means, put them below. Happy to read them, happy to get answers for you. I rarely do this. I'm supposed to do it in every video, but I think if you want to click the like, then please do. And if you want to subscribe, please do. The reason that I'm supposed to ask for these things is because these are two metrics that YouTube specifically uses to measure my success. I gotta be honest, I kinda don't care what YouTube thinks about my success. But, since I am being honest, I do have a goal for this channel to build to 1 million subscribers. And the reason for that is, in our world, when you have 1 million subscribers, people pay attention to you. In the same way that Elon Musk is a multi-billionaire, so people pay attention to him. Okay, just because he's a multi-billionaire doesn't mean he knows how to do everything. And so I am balancing, yes, I absolutely want to build this channel very, very large and have a very large or great reach and help lots of people. I guess that comes down to, could you please click like and could you please subscribe? That would be very helpful to me and I would really, really appreciate it.